I want to say this about Bryan Mbuemo because for me he's been up there with Bruno Fernandes as Manchester United's most important player this season. I think what he's offered to this team after signing for £70 million, and he was chased by a lot of clubs. Tottenham, Newcastle were heavily interested in signing him. I think he's been absolutely fantastic, and this is a conversation I want to have. So let's get into Bryan Mbuemo. Now, the first thing we always talk about, as we always love on this channel, is the stats. So Bryan Mbuemo's stats this season: he's played 21 games in the Premier League. He started all of those 21 matches, by the way. He's got 9 goals and 2 assists in the Premier League, 11 goal contributions in 21 games. He's United's top scorer this season. I think he's like joint 7th in the Premier League for top goal scorers. Thiago, Haaland, Semenyo, and a few others having more goals than him. But I think as the debut season goes, it has been really quite impressive. Yes, I know his goal scoring is absolutely fantastic, but I think what he's offered to this team defensively is something that is also really important. And I think if you're looking for a clinical bagsman, someone who can score a goal, someone who can create a chance out of nothing, he's that sort of player to go to. And I think he's a very unique profile. And I was more excited by when Cunha signed, but I did kind of really underestimate Mbumo. I know he had a great season for Brentford. He scored 20 goals for them last season, and he's been a very important player for them over the last few years. And he come into this United team, and it took him a few games to settle, but since the season started, he's looked brilliant, and there's been so many good games. I remember his goal against Burnley, fantastic bit of movement. The goal was just a simple tap in, but the movement was class. You look at some of the big games he's had for United this season. He scored twice against Spurs, home and away. He scored at Anfield. He scored at the Etihad. No, he didn't score at the Etihad. He should have scored at the Etihad. He scored against Manchester City. He scored against Arsenal. So listen, he's had some big game moments in United shirt, and I still think there's a lot more to come. As I mentioned briefly, one thing that I have really been impressed with is his defensive work rate. I think he's someone who puts in a lot of hard yards defensively for this team, and that's ultimately something that we haven't seen from likes of Garnacho, Rashford, um, in recent times. So I think that's something that's impressive. I think his relationship with the likes of Cunha, Bruno, Masesco, and Ahmad at times when we were playing in a back five has worked really, really well. As I said, the assists he's got this season, I remember them vividly. It was the cross to Mount against Sunderland and the cross last week against West Ham. Very good crosses. And the goals, some of them have been unbelievable finishes. The one against City was brilliant. The one against Arsenal, you have to show a lot of composure. The one against Liverpool, again, a very good finish. So yeah, he's had some big moments for this United team, and I've been very, very impressed with him. I think he's a quality player, and he's someone who has still got a lot of gears to go. As I said, I think Premier League experience was massive for United this summer, and you can see it ultimately has worked out very, very well. I think one thing that's very good is his versatility. I know I talk about how I don't really like to see him in the left-hand side, down that left wing, but he can definitely play there and put in a more than good enough performance in there. You look on the right, he's really, really good on that right. Look at the goals against Brighton, or the first goal against Brighton that he got was just a typical Mbuemo goal that we've seen so many times at Brentford. Even the goal against Grimsby, I know that was probably the worst day of late for a United fan, but the goal he scored was fantastic. And versatility is key. And listen, you look at in the market where you have players like Elanga going for 60 million, Madueke going for 60 million. These sorts of players, I think Mbuemo is better and has been up there with one of the best signings for me in the league this season. You look at how he's adapted straight away, has been away at AFCON, come back, new manager, played in the number 9 position where the team's been unsettled. I think he's been absolutely fantastic, and I think someone who he's one of those players where you don't mind spending 65, 70 million pounds on because the quality that he has, and the talent that he does have. He's 26, he's got a lot of years left ahead of him, and I'm hoping he can continue that at United. Hopefully next season, when we are in Europe, we are hopefully, whether that's Champions League or Europa League, whether that's FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and obviously competing in the Premier League. I think having someone like Mbuemo will be fantastic. I think as I said, his work rate is insane, his talent, his output on the pitch. And again, he's someone who was heavily chased by a lot of Premier League clubs, and he was one of those guys who wanted to choose Manchester United, which ultimately United had their worst season in recent years. They finished 15th last season, didn't win the Europa League. It was quite poor for Manchester United, and the fact that we still been able to attract Cunha and Mbuemo, and hopefully this season we can get some more players, it's been very good. But as I said, I've been very happy with Mbuemo, and I think in terms of I think he's been better than Saka at times this season. I think in terms of Elanga, Madueke, these sorts of players, there's definitely more that I've missed out going for a lot of money. I think Mbuemo was a very good bit of business for Manchester United, and as I said, him and Cunha have been two great bits of business by Ineos and Manchester United. And Mbuemo is someone who's just a lethal finisher on the edge of most shots, can create a chance out of nothing, decent set piece rate, as well, putting crosses into the box is real quite impressive. So yeah, and this is a conversation we needed to have. I think it was a great bit of move, recruitment by Manchester United, and he was happy to join the club. Still a long way to go, listeners. First seasons, there's still 10, 11 games left, so hopefully he can get 15 goals and 5 assists. I mean, 20 goal contributions for your first season for Mbuemo will be fantastic. And yeah, I've been very quite impressed with him. There's been some great moments. There's still a lot for him to kind of do yet in the United shirt, win a few trophies, and improve. I think sometimes his touch is a bit off, but large parts of his game is fantastic, and he has been very good for Manchester United this season. And I'm so excited to see what he can do for this team going forward, because he is a quality player. And as I said, I've been very impressed. And impressed, I think the word that I would sum up in Burma with would just be clinical. I think he's someone, when you get him in front of goal, more time he is going to score. Arsenal, Liverpool, City, there's been some tough chances and he's converted them very, very well. So yeah, he's got a lot of composure, a lot of quality. I think one thing that you can say is his work rate's fantastic. So shout out to Mbuemo, very good bit of business from United.